Part 1. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0 SE. Chapter 1. Dead girl, this time try to be a fruit, and see if your baby has manifested itself. Yun Chang was dragged from the Kong in a daze, and before she could react, Widow Wang's deliberately lowered voice entered her ears. This is the third time that Widow Wang has asked her for something after Yun's Hang woke up. From the beginning of rice, buds, to fruit now, Widow Wang's request has become lower and more anxious every time. Yun Chang felt nervous in her heart, pretending to be calm with a small face, and shook her head dejectedly in the eyes of Widow Wang's nervous anticipation. No, the baby is gone, I can't find it. The original owner was only 5 years old, and he didn't know how dangerous the space would be after being exposed. Now that the core has been replaced by a cloud dress, he naturally dared not dig things out like the original owner. Fortunately, the original owner was young and didn't know what space was. Yesterday, he was very hungry, so he took out a corn cobs from the space in a confused way, and was seen by Widow Wang. It's just that the original owner couldn't even say anything. Widow Wang asked for a long time and didn't know where the corn cobs came from. She could only guess that the original owner probably got some great treasure. Seeing Yun Chang shaking her head and saying that the baby was gone, Widow Wang immediately lowered her face, raised her hand and gave Yun Chang a slap. "You bastard, why did you lose a good baby? Did you hide it from me and hide it on purpose?" This slap hit Yun Chang's back, and her entire chest was buzzing, and her heart was beating violently, as if it was about to jump out of her chest. Yun Chang hurriedly covered her chest and curled her body into a ball to ease her discomfort. Seeing that Yun Chang's face was completely pale, and even her lips were blue, Widow Wang raised her hand again, and changed the shot to pinch, and pinched it hard on Yun Chang's arm. "Hurry up and find it. If you don't get the baby back today, let's see how I'll take care of you." The sudden pain in the arm made Yun Chang tremble, clenched his teeth subconsciously, and swallowed the pain that almost overflowed from his mouth. Seeing that Yun's Hang was interested, she didn't scream and call the neighbors to watch. As usual, Widow Wang's expression became better, she snorted coldly, and she stretched out her clothes and went out of the door with her waist twisted. When the door was closed, Yun Chang rubbed her belly, which was unbearably full of pain, and fell onto the hard, bouncing Kong. Who would have thought that she would jump around behind Gu Shinian to inspect the store in the morning, only to encounter a big earthquake in the blink of an eye, and she was lucky enough to catch the trend traveling. In 1960, she became the little girl of the Widow Wang's family in Xinglan village. Yun Chang's whole person is still stunned until now. She opened and closed her eyes repeatedly, but the tingling on her arm, the mottled and messy memories of the original owner, and the cold and hard big earthen Kong under her all reminded her. It's not acting, it's not dreaming, she's really transmigrated. Recognizing this reality, Yun Chang could no longer control his small emotions, and tears fell down. She didn't want to be the daughter of the Widow Wang's family, she just wanted to go back, save the life of the past years, and then repay him for his kindness of upbringing. After the death of her parents and brother in a car accident, it was Gu Shinian, who was only 18 years old, who supported her. He held her in his hand like a father and a brother. He nurtured and cared for her carefully. "I'm about to become an adult, and it's a shit." Thinking that Gu Shinian lost her life because of her willfulness, Yun Chang wanted to slap herself to death. If it weren't for her insisting on going downstairs with Gu Shinian to inspect the store, or if she hadn't dragged him down while escaping, he wouldn't have been buried under the rubble. At that time, he clearly had the opportunity to leave her alone and escape. Yun Chang remembered the scene where Gu Shinian protected her to the death when the building collapsed, remembered the low and depressed groaning when he was hit by reinforced concrete, and remembered that he was afraid of her worries. Deliberately light, forbidding and rapid breathing, and the muscles that kept shivering when pushing up against the wall in order to prop up a small space for her to stay in. Thinking of these, Yun Chang's tears flowed unscrupulously. Weeping darkly. Even if the original owner exposed the space and put her in danger, even if she had been offended more in the past few hours than in the past 17 years, Yun Chang could not care about it at this time. She just wanted to know what happened to Gu Shinian, whether he was rescued, whether he was seriously injured. In case, no, Gu Shinian was so powerful, he would definitely not die. Besides, she has already passed through, and Gu Shinian will definitely be able to pass through. But where is she going to find Gu Shinian? In this day and age, proof is required wherever she goes, and this body is only 5 years old. Even if she finds out about Gu Shinian's whereabouts, she will not be able to leave Xinglan village alone. Yun Chang's grief was going to flow into a river, and he didn't even hear the footsteps in the courtyard. Widow Wang pushed open the door and came in, and saw Yun Chang lying on the big con crying out of breath, with tears on her face, constantly burping, and her small body curled up in a ball twitched with the sound of burping. As soon as he twitched, he instantly became angry, raised his eyebrows, rushed over and dragged Yun's Hang to the ground. At the same time, a series of sharp and mean curses also blurted out. "You morning star, the old lady is not dead yet, who will you show your wailing and mourning?" Yun Chang was stunned by Widow Wang's fall, and when she saw her turn around to get the broom in the corner, she quickly got up and ran out. This Widow Wang is not a good stubborn. Just by looking at the bruises and scars on the original owner's arms, you can tell that she is used to hitting children, and she was beaten with a deadly hand. When Yun's Hang passed through, he roughly received the memory of the original owner, and knew that being beaten was nothing to the original owner, and the taste of starvation was the most difficult thing. What's even worse is that Widow Wang is still restless, and often recruits wild men to come to the door on weekdays. Every night, the original owner is either locked in the cabinet on the Kong head and listens to the goblin fight, or is driven outside the gate to guard the door. It's fine in summer, but it's a big deal to be bitten by mosquitoes a few times. If it's driven out in winter, it's going to be a crime of old age, and the original owner almost froze to death several times. Yun Chang felt that it was really a miracle that the original owner could live to the age of 5. "It's getting dark, where are you going without cooking? It's really against the sky, if you can go out, don't come back." Yun Chang ran out of the house, leaving Widow Wang's curses far behind her, her eyes widening. Gradually clear up. Before passing through, Yun Chang had drifted into the air in a daze, and clearly saw that the bodies of her and Gu Shinian were dug out by the search and rescue team. Gu Shinian's hands were holding her tightly, her spine and bones were all broken, her upper body was floppy, and she was completely devoid of human appearance, and she was protected by Gu Shinian in his arms, and she died decently. Yun Chang also saw that those people couldn't break the hand that Gu Shinian was holding her, and finally cremated her and Gu Shinian together. Thinking of those scenes, and looking at the pitted dirt road under her feet, Yun Chang realized that she might really not be able to go back. In the future, she can only be the daughter of the Widow Wang of Xinglan village, a 5-year-old Xiao Doubting. Without Gu Shinian by her side, there was no one to shelter her from the wind and rain, so she could only learn to save herself, support herself, and work hard to survive. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0 SE. Chapter 2. The sun was about to set now, and it was just time to finish work. The members of the commune were carrying farm implements and walked into the village in 2s and 3s. There were also some women in a hurry. They should be in a hurry to go home and cook. Yun's Hang stood under the wheat straw pile at the entrance of the village, looking at the crowd that was getting closer and closer, and observed the clothes of farmers in this era. Most of the members were wearing large black or blue cotton padded jackets, with straw ropes tied around their waists, and patches on their clothes. The knees and elbows were severely worn, and some people couldn't even get a patch, and they were dry and black. The cotton wool came out of the hole, making people feel sour. Yun Chang remembered the festive, thick, and unpatched cotton-padded jacket on Widow Wang's body. A woman came over and saw Yun's Hang standing on the side of the road, shouting at the top of her voice. "Girl from the Yun family, why did you run out at this time? It's getting dark, but you don't dare to leave the village, so hurry home." Seeing that Yun's Hang didn't respond, the woman next to her pulled her and whispered gossip. "You're too busy, and she doesn't understand what you're saying to a mute. Hey, it's really a sin. You said that this widow Wang doesn't care about her children. She is so old and still doesn't open her mouth to speak. People who are too thin have only a handful of bones left. Isn't it true, Uncle Yun can't see and stutters in the child's mouth, and the widow Wang can pull it out and stuff it in her own mouth? How can you be such a mother?" Yun Chang realized later that the girl of the Yun family was her. But who is Uncle Yun and Aunt Yun? It was less than 3 hours before Yun Chang passed through. I don't know if the original owner had a lack of memory or because she hadn't sorted it out. Yun Chang found that she was confused in many things. The sky was getting darker and the northwest wind was blowing stronger and stronger, and the wheat straws on the haystacks swirled with the wind, rushing to the village entrance. In the dark of night, the dirt road leading to the outside of the village is like a monster with its mouth open, waiting for people to step on it and then swallow it up. Yun's Hang wrapped a thin padded jacket that was almost impossible to buckle, looking at the direction of the village entrance. After all, she didn't have the courage to step out. At this time, the voice of the woman shouting for the child to go home for dinner, and the footsteps of the child shouting and galloping after the answer, the thick firework smell made this small village that was previously dilapidated and silent instantly come alive, as if withered. The old tree sprouted and regained its vitality. Yun Chang rubbed her frozen fingers and didn't go out of the village. Taking advantage of the night, she turned around and opened the stack of wheat straw beside her, and carefully hid in it. The cold wind was instantly blocked outside the haystack, and the soft and dry wheat straw, with the smell of sunlight, wrapped Yun Chang's small body, warm and comfortable. Yun Chang breathed a long sigh of relief, adjusted his sitting posture, and began to organize the memory of the original owner. The original owner is also called Yun's Hang. The reason why she was named Chang is because she was born when the widow Wang was washing clothes by the river. Unlike the name of Yun's Hang, it comes from the poem Yungxian Clothes and Flowers. Widow Wang's name is Wang Gihua. She married into Xinglan village in 1952, and became a widow 3 months later. Later, she got married and married Yun Dachuan, the eldest son of the old Yun family in the same village. Young daughter-in-law. The original owner was less than a year old when Yun Dachuan fell off the mountain and was carried home for 7 days and 7 nights, but he was not rescued in the end. Wang Gihua became a widow again, and she also carried the reputation of Kefu, and no one dared to marry him in a radius of dozens of miles. Wang Gihua felt that she was wronged, so she blamed Yun Dachuan's death on the original owner, and told people everywhere that the original owner killed her father and mother, and Yun Dachuan was the original owner who killed her. But even so, no one dared to marry Wang Gihua, which made her a joke in 8 villages. Wang Gihua sees that there is no hope of remarrying, and she wants to live with her brother-in-law Yun Erchuan. He also broke into Yun Erchuan's room, threw his sister-in-law Li Hongmei's clothes into the courtyard, stripped naked and lay in the bed of the young couple without saying anything. The Yun family are all honest people. When they met such a skinless and shameless bastard, the old couple of the Yun family, the couple of Yun Erchuan, and the little girl Yun Shuilian, the 5 big living people were stunned that they couldn't do anything about the widow Wang. The news that Wang Gihua was going to live with her brother-in-law spread out, and the old Yun family became a joke in the whole town. In the end, it was really unbelievable, and the village cotters took the initiative to come to the door to mediate. Lao Yun's family paid for 3 rooms for widow Wang and bought a set of family business. Since then, widow Wang has been separated from the Yun family and has taken root in Xinglan village. The original owner was widow Wang's daughter, so she naturally wanted to live with Widow Wang, but Widow Wang believed that Yun Dachuan was killed by the original owner, and she had been abusing her a lot over the years. The original owner became more and more timid. Every time he went out, he lowered his head to avoid people and didn't even dare to look at them. Even when he was 5 years old, he never even spoke in the village. I thought the original owner was dumb. Yun's Hang rummaged through the original owner's memory and found that in addition to being beaten, starving, guarding the gate, and closing the wooden cabinet, there were only a few pictures of the old couple of the Yun family carrying the widow Wang on their backs to feed the original owner. In addition, which county and province Xinglan village belongs to, and whether the national leaders are those great men known to Yun's Hang, the original owner does not know. But Yun Chang couldn't care about these things at this moment. She was standing in a space that was half the size of a football field, looking at the 8-story building in front of her with a dazed expression. This building is really too familiar. The word She's Hang on the top of the building was written by Yun's Hang himself after the building was completed, and Gu Shinian asked someone to carve it. The graceful and beautiful fonts don't match the magnificent building at all, but Yun Chang feels very kind and beautiful at this moment. This is the hypermarket under the name of Gu Shinian, the one they inspected in the morning. Yun Chang was stunned for a while, walked from store to store with short legs, stood at the gate of the store, stretched out her hand, retracted, and pushed the gate open several times. The whole store was empty. Yun Chang suppressed her disappointment and walked in. The layout of the store is exactly the same as when Yun's Hang inspected it in the morning. The stores outside include a pharmacy, a mobile phone store, an outdoor equipment store, a fast food restaurant, and Gu Shinian's favorite dessert shop. The second basement floor is the warehouse and parking area, and the first basement floor is a large supermarket, which is also the largest supermarket in the provincial capital. Half of the first floor is the cosmetics area and the jewelry area, and the other half is the luxury brand area. The hall in the middle also displays 2 off-road vehicles for exhibitions. Under the illumination of the lights, the lines of the vehicles are smooth and full of power and beauty. The second floor to the 6th floor sells men's and women's clothing, shoes, bedding, etc. On the 7th floor there is a club for beauty and maintenance, a store for private clothing customization, a library area, and a coffee area for guests to rest. The building is the office area of the entire building and is not open to the public. The electricity was still on in the building for some reason. Yun Chang took the elevator to the 8th floor and pushed open the largest office. Looking at the familiar room, Yun Chang's body trembled uncontrollably and held back tears for a long time. Surging out again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0 SE. Chapter 3. Half of the cake she ate in the morning was still on the coffee table, and the coat that Gu Shinian wore in the morning was still on the sofa, but she was nowhere to be found. Yun Chang sat on the floor leaning against the sofa, grabbed the cake on the coffee table, wiped her tears and stuffed it into her mouth, while whimpering and admonishing herself. Yun's Hang, you are not allowed to cry, it is useless to cry, no one cares for you, no one can help you, you can only live on your own, you must live, raise yourself beautifully and go to Gu Shinian, can't let him worry. One person did not know how to mutter for a long time, and finally fell asleep in a daze. When she woke up again, Yun Chang touched her stomach, went to the staff restaurant to drink a bowl of millet porridge, and took a bath in the lounge. Only then did she leave the store and sit on the green grassy open space to think about what she was facing. Predicament. Yun Chang knew that if she wanted to take root in this era, she had to get rid of Widow Wang completely. First of all, Widow Wang's stealing is already an open secret in Xinglan village. When the movement comes a few years later, Widow Wang will be one of the first people to be criticized for wearing a high hat, and Yun's Hang, as the daughter of broken shoes, will also be the same at that time, can't please. Secondly, the original owner had exposed the space yesterday, and Widow Wang still has thoughts in her heart. She will not do anything to her for the time being, but if Yun's Hang has been unable to come up with what Widow Wang wants, with Widow Wang's selfish and mean nature, she will not be able to do anything with her. The violent beating is indispensable, and maybe she will publicize this matter, and she will live up to her reputation as an ominous person who overcomes her parents and her mother. Even though it has been 60 years now, in a small village like Xinglan village, the villagers will still be rejected by the villagers if they carry the reputation of being a father and mother. In the memory of the original owner, the children in the village have learned a lot from Widow Wang, calling her the reincarnation of the Death Star. Yun Chang felt that Widow Wang was both disgusted and afraid of the original owner. She hated that the original owner killed Yun Dachuan, and she was afraid that the original owner really killed her father and mother, and killed herself. And the Widow Wang tortured the original owner for all these years, and she might have killed her mind. Fortunately, Xinglan village has been eating a big pot of rice for the past 2 years, so the original owner will not starve to death, but the collective canteen in the village was disbanded a few days ago, and the original owner's life was difficult. Widow Wang never gave the original owner food. When the original owner was very hungry, she drank water from a pot, secretly gnawed the bark of bran, or ate guanyin soil. Thinking of the burning pain in his stomach when he first passed through, Yun Chang suspected that the original owner was starved to death. If the Widow Wang cannot be completely solved, even if it is replaced by Yun's Hang, it may not be able to survive in her hands. No matter what age it is really easy for an adult to kill a child. It can be said that the rope of the knife hanging on Yun Chang's neck has been cut and will soon fall off. If Yun Chang wants to live, the Widow Wang must be blind and mute, or disappear forever. The problem now is that this body is only 5 years old. Widow Wang can slap her and she can't get up. How can she mutilate Widow Wang, or make Widow Wang disappear? Even if Widow Wang was disabled and disappeared, how would her 5-year-old child survive in the village? Xinglan village is not a city, there is no welfare institution, it is a place to eat by centimeters. A child who is only 5 years old has no centimeters and can still live well. Isn't this telling people that she has a problem? Yun Chang frowned, trying to imagine herself as Gu Shinian, thinking about what would he do if Gu Shinian encountered this situation. Before colliding with the enemy, you must first think of a way to retreat, make sure you can retreat completely, and then decide the timing of the shot. This is what Gu Shinian once said. Yun Chang thought about it, and felt that his way of retreat could be placed in the old Yun's house. No matter what the troubles between Widow Wang and the Lao Yun family were, the original owner was the granddaughter of the Lao Yun family. This was a fact that no one could change. As long as the Lao Yun family can be trusted, without the Widow Wang, she has her own house. And food, life is much better than it is now. Yun Chang felt that it was necessary for her to go to Lao Yun's house to find out what the family said. But the most important thing at the moment is, in what way will she make Widow Wang disappear, or make her shut up? Yun's Hang scratched his head irritably, turned around and entered the store to search for the tools at hand, the baseball bat found in the supermarket, the axe for chopping meat, and the knife for deboning. After finding the sleeping pills, he nodded in satisfaction. After leaving the store, looking at the huge empty space, Yun Chang slapped her head suddenly, feeling that she was really stupid. How could she forget about the space? If the space can hold a large living person, is she still worried that there is no place to clean up the Widow Wang? After locking the person and going to the space, the 5 or 6 acres of land is enough for Widow Wang to plant. Yun Chang thinks this idea is really wonderful. Not only can she completely control Widow Wang, but also have someone to help her with her work. This is a good thing that kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Why didn't she think of it before? After reacting, Yun's Hang decided to first try to see if the space could hold living creatures and plant things. First, I caught a live fish in the aquatic product area of the supermarket, put it in a fish tank, and placed it on the open space in front of the store. I moved a pot of green dill from the supermarket, dug a hole in the ground, and pulled out the dill from the flower pot. Plant. Looking at the luscious green dill, Yunzhang muttered regretfully. There is no water. Before he finished speaking, the land flew over in the space, and Yi Wangkan's eyes moved from a distance at a speed visible to the naked eye. Yun Chang only felt a stinging pain like a needle in his head, his legs softened, and his buttocks sat on the ground. This is, moving the spring, too much mental power loss. Yun Chang held her head and sat on the ground for a while before she could react. Looking down at the spring water that I ran over, the eyes of the spring clucked, the water quality was clear and translucent, and occasionally a faint mist appeared on the surface of the water, as if the spring water was covered with a veil. Yunzhang first poured some spring water on Luluo, observed for a while, and found that Luluo had no obvious change. He picked up the spring water and took a sip. The taste is sweet and refreshing, and the water quality is soft and soft. Even if it is not the legendary spiritual spring water, this water can also be used as top-level tea water. Yun Chang was not disappointed either. It was an unexpected joy to have the space, not to mention that there was a hypermarket and 5 acres of land, so she could never be hungry. Don't be too greedy. Yun Chang raised her small head and carried her small short hands, wandering around the space like a proud little rooster, inspecting her territory. If you come across a place where you can't get out, change direction and continue to turn. After walking around, I found 3 corn cobs, 2 small potatoes the size of a child's fist, and a handful of wheat ears in the space. Yun Chang suspected that the original owner had collected these things in a daze when she was working these years, but she was too young to know that she had such a treasure on her body, so she starved to death. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0SE. Chapter 4. Feeling that the time is almost up, Yunzhang went to the store to get 2 watches, adjusted the time, put one next to the fish tank, and hid the other and took it out. Returning to the wheat straw pile again, the biting cold made Yun Chang shiver, and she opened the wheat straw pile. Yun Chang knew that Widow Wang would not come out to find her, but looking at the quiet and scary village in front of her, her heart was still full of anger. It's not that I feel wronged, it's that I'm not worth it for the original owner. The north wind was blowing, and the dead branches at the entrance of the village were beeping, and Yun Chang didn't care about his fear. He wrapped his padded jacket tightly and walked towards Lao Yun's house in the dark. Widow Wang's house is not far from the entrance of the village. When Yun Chang passed by, she found that the door of the house was closed. She put her ear to the door and listened carefully, and she could vaguely hear Widow Wang's deliberately soft laughter. Yun Chang knew that Widow Wang had another guest tonight. I just don't know if it's Li or Meiza from Dongshan village or Sun Data from Qingpu village. Yun Chang suppressed the feeling of disgust in her heart, just about to leave, but she was so angry that she turned back and kicked the door. Even if she can't do anything to Widow Wang for the time being, it's good to scare her. The door rang non-stop, and Yun Chang ran a few steps forward and hid under the firewood next door. Who is it? Widow Wang's charming laughter in the room stopped instantly, and she asked a question in surprise. Then footsteps sounded in the courtyard, and the door was quickly opened. A man stuck his head out to look around, and quickly shrank back. No one, there is a strong wind, it is estimated that it was blown by the wind. Immediately afterwards, Widow Wang gritted her teeth and said, "Isn't that the Death Star coming back? Forget it, fasten the door, and the worry-free thing will die outside as soon as possible." Yun Chang was so angry that her hands were trembling. In the era of information explosion in the future, she had seen all kinds of news reports that mothers were not loving enough, but she had never seen anyone like Widow Wang, who hated children in her heart and wanted the mother of the child to die. In the past, when she read news reports, she always felt that those rude and ignorant mothers were disgusting, but compared with Widow Wang, those mothers still had a motherly heart for their children, and Widow Wang was not even worthy of being a human being. Yun Chang clenched his fists tightly, ran back in a few steps, and slammed into the door again. This time the door was louder, and even the old hens in the backyard were startled and flapping their wings and barking. It's going to die? What wicked and short-lived thing. After Widow Wang became a widow, there were many idiots around knocking on the door in the middle of the night. At this time, the door was knocked twice in a row. She thought it was another idiot who was playing a prank, so she just scolded, but no one came out. Yun Chang kicked the door twice in a row, and suddenly felt very boring. She couldn't be angry with people like Widow Wang, it was too cheap. Besides, she is also going to clean up the Widow Wang, so let her dance for 2 more days, and then there will be time to vent her anger to the original owner. The hens in the backyard were still chirping non-stop, and Yun Chang moved along the wall to the backyard. Previously, she used live fish to verify whether the space could hold living creatures. Although the verification was successful, she could not guarantee that the animals brought into the space from this world would also be alive. Originally, I wanted to find an opportunity to continue the verification, but this was the 1960s, and it was the most difficult time. If someone lost a chicken, it would be more distressing than losing a child. People's ideas. What's more, there are not enough people to eat now, and there are even fewer people in the village who raise chickens. But Widow Wang is different from others. In this era when everyone can't get enough to eat and wear warm clothes, Widow Wang's life is a good life in the village. She is not short of money or tickets, and the courtyard is even more supportive. If you have 4 big hens, even if Yun's Hang kills one, Widow Wang will not lose half life as distressed as others. Besides, even if she really died, Yun Chang wouldn't care. At this moment, Yun's Hang was leaning against the earth wall, using his mind to collect the hens separated by the wall, until the cold sweat oozes out of his forehead. He was able to put the fattest Luhua chicken into the space. After succeeding, Yun Chang also immediately followed into the space. Looking at the hen standing motionless in the space, Yun Chang was startled, and quickly grabbed the hen's neck to dodge out of the space. As soon as they got out of the space, the hen immediately struggled, and Yun Chang, who was so strong, could hardly hold back, and hurriedly threw the hen into the space before giving up. Looking at the hen standing still in the space again, Yun Chang finally understood. The living creatures in the store can move freely in the space, and once the living creatures in this world enter the space, they will be in a state where they can only breathe and cannot move, just like this reed chicken. Yun Chang felt a little regretful in her heart. If that was the case, then her idea of locking up Widow Wang to farm the land would not work. The surroundings became quiet again. The weather in November was blowing from the north, and the chill came from all directions. Yun Chang wrapped her padded jacket tightly, not daring to stay outside any longer, and ran to Yun's house tremblingly. The original owner was young, and this body was too weak. When he ran to the gate of Yun's house, Yun Chang's heels were cold and painful. Looking at the low and closed chain in front of her, Yun Chang couldn't care less about her nervousness. She raised her hand and slapped it vigorously a few times. A faint light soon lit up in the room, and through the gap of the chain, Yun Chang saw Mr. Yun coming out of the main room holding the oil lamp, and asked, "Who is it?" Yun Chang imitated the original owner, kept knocking on the door without speaking. "Hey, stop knocking, come on." The door was quickly opened, and Yun Chang raised her head, looking at the thin and short old man in front of her in the dim light. Shangnan. The original owner had never been to Lao Yun's house as far back as he could remember, so Mr. Yun was stunned for a while before he could react. He hurriedly pulled Yun Chang into the door and kept asking, "Why are you running here at this time? Come in, did you get beaten again? Did you eat? Does your mother know you're coming?" "Father, I'm not hungry." The original owner was a well-known mute in the village. Yun Chang's opening made Mr. Yun both surprised and delighted. Even the wrinkles on his face turned into a flower, and he kept saying good boy, good granddaughter and so on. If the grandfather and grandson had just entered the main room, and the old lady also came out from the inside. Seeing Mr. Yun leading Yun Chang to enter the door, her eyes widened in shock. This, your mother beat you again, didn't it? The old lady's eyes turned red after asking. She quickly pulled Yun Chang into the back room, and kept rubbing her cold little hands. It's really a sin, how can my good granddaughter have such a mother, oh, but it hurts me to death. Seeing that Yun Chang's exposed arm was covered with bruises and interlaced scars, the old lady's distressed tears fell straight down, and she said the word crime over and over again, but other than that, she never cursed again. There are no other words. It can be seen that the people of the Lao Yun family are really honest, and even a little cowardly. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0 SE. Chapter 5. Wife, do you still have anything to eat at home? Sang Nan hasn't eaten yet. The old man Yun sighed, raised his hand and touched Yun Chang's head, while the old lady hurriedly took out a dark vegetable dumpling from the cupboard and stuffed it into Yun Chang's hand with a loving look. Good boy, take it quickly. This is what your second uncle brought back from the town yesterday. It contains bean noodles, only a little bran, and no elm bark. It's delicious. Come and try it. As if worried that Yun's hang would break up the vegetable dumplings, the old lady put one hand under Yun Chang's chin, pushed Yun Chang's hand with the other, and stuffed the vegetable dumplings into her mouth. Yun Chang's eyes turned red in an instant. From the time she passed through until now, her spirit has been in a tense state. Even when she was in space, her heart was still heavy like a stone was pressed. In the past 17 years of her life, the things she worried about every day were, today is Monday, and she has to wear an ugly school uniform again. In the morning, Gu Shinian asked her aunt to buy her most hated carrots again. I'm here to harass her, should I tell Gu Shinian? But after crossing the road, Yun Chang was worried about how to keep his life in the hands of the widow Wang, how not to attract the attention of those who care, how to live safely in this unfamiliar and heavy age, how to be able to eat and wear warmly, no longer worry that the little life will be at risk at any time. This sudden change, Yun Chang was afraid and resisted from the bottom of his heart. All her knowledge of this era came from those online novels on the internet, but when she was really in this era, she discovered that the most terrifying thing was not material poverty, but spiritual loneliness. She could not find the spiritual pillar to support her to survive in this era, nor could she find a shelter that could make her feel at ease, and she could not obtain the sense of steadfastness that was integrated into the entire era in her previous life. At this moment, the clumsy and poor way of caring by the old couple of the Yun family has finally loosened Yun Chang's nerves that have been tense all day. Feeling, and the happiness of being cared for. Good boy, stop crying, eat quickly, and you won't be hungry when you're full. Mrs. Yun clumsily wiped Yun Chang's tears and coaxed her to eat carefully. Now is the most difficult period. Even the people in the city have begun to add food substitutes to their meals, not to mention the small mountain villages like Xinglan village that rely on the sky to eat. The past few years have been bad, the village's harvest is not enough to pay the public grain, and the farmers are even more hungry. At this time, wheat bran, corn kernels, and elm bark have long become the staple food on the table of the villagers, but even so, the villagers are still not full. It is conceivable how precious this vegetable dumpling with bean noodles and no elm bark is added. Yun Chang couldn't bear to refute the old man's kindness, and smiled at the old lady Yun, bowed her head, and took a bite of the vegetable dumplings. She was already mentally prepared, but she still overestimated her tolerance and ability to bear. When the strong beanie and earthy smell filled her mouth, and the rough food dregs slipped through her throat, the unbearable itchiness, the pain still made her cough. The mouthful of food was choked out and sprayed on the old lady's hand. The old lady felt sorry for the spoiled food and her granddaughter who was choked with red eyes. He hurriedly gathered the food spouted by his granddaughter and put it in his mouth, took the water poured over by Mr. Yun, and carefully poured it down into Yun Chang, only then did the food residue stuck in her throat flush into her stomach. Inside, Mr. Yun took the empty bowl and saw that Yun Chang had stopped coughing, and then sat back on the Kong, still coaxing his granddaughter in distress. "You kid, don't worry, eat slowly, this dumpling is yours, no one dares to snatch it from you." Yun Chang was dumbfounded. It's not that she is in a hurry to eat it because she is afraid that others will grab it, she really doesn't know that it will choke people if she eats it in a hurry. "Grandma, I'm really not hungry." Yun's hand trembled and put the vegetable dumplings back into the old lady's hands. Seeing that the old lady's anxious brows were knotted, she hurriedly hugged the old lady's waist and said half coquettishly and half complaining, "Grandma, there are guests at home, and I secretly ate chicken cake." Now it's not just the old lady who is anxious, even the old man's brows are raised. "Your mother asked you to guard the gate again." Yun's Hang nodded with a small face, and the small red mole at the corner of her eye was particularly conspicuous in the dim yellow light. "Grandpa, I didn't listen to her and sneaked out." "It's right to come out. In the future, if you want to come, you can stay at Grandpa's house. Tomorrow, Grandpa will go to tell your mother." Yun Chang grinned, neither agreeing nor rejecting. It's not that she underestimated the old couple of the Yun family and was so generous when she encountered Widow Wang, or that the 5 members of the Yun family together were no match for them. Otherwise, the Widow Wang would not have taken away a large and bright tile-roofed house. Besides, the original owner had exposed the space. Before Widow Wang had achieved her goal, how could she have allowed her to be close to the Yun family? Yun Chang blinked her big wet eyes, and continued with an innocent look. "Grandpa, the guests who came today said they would take my mother to the city for a few days to enjoy themselves, and said that no one would know about them after leaving this broken village." "Grandpa, how is the city? What? Does she still want to elope?" This time it was the old lady who couldn't sit still. After asking a question, she hugged Yun Chang and began to wipe her tears again. "It's really a sin. Why does my old Yun family have such a daughter-in-law on the stall? Why does she just take care of herself and not think about her children? There is a mother who runs away, and my granddaughter will raise her head in front of others in the future. What will she do in the future? Speaking of my mother-in-law." Yun Chang was immediately stunned. Why didn't she think of it? If the old lady didn't mention it, she forgot about it. If Widow Wang disappeared with the name of eloping with others, she and Lao Yun's family would not be able to raise their heads in the village in the future. Even if she went to school and started working, she had a mother who eloped, and she would have to live in someone else's place. In gossip. Thinking of this, Yun Chang quickly raised her hand to wipe the old lady's tears. "Grandma, don't worry, my mother said she won't go." "What? Your mother doesn't go to the city?" The old lady was probably startled by Yun Chang's sudden lie about the military situation. Her eyes were round and round, her mouth was slightly open, and there was a tear on her cheek. Yun Chang clenched her fingers and made up nonsense out of nothing for the old couple to listen. "Well, I heard my mother whispering secretly, saying that she eats and dresses well in the village, and her life is not worse than that of the city people. She said that she would not go to the city to be looked down upon." That's good, no matter what kind of person she is, there is an adult standing in front of her. Anyway, someone will support my granddaughter. Oh, my good granddaughter has learned this very well. You look at this one, it's very straightforward." The old lady had a proud face with the old man, and Yun Chang said in a shocking voice, "Grandma, today the customer said that there are bucket shoes in the neighboring county. They say that they wear high hats for the broken shoes family to parade through the streets, shave their yin and yang heads, and close the cowshed." "Grandma, what are bucket shoes?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0 SE. Chapter 6. The old lady blinked and looked back at Mr. Yoon, as if asking Mr. Yoon if what she heard was true. Mr. Yoon opened and closed his mouth, closed it, and finally sighed a long time, and said with an unlucky face, "Shangnan, be good, don't listen to these bad words in the future. Grandpa will talk to your mother tomorrow, and you will live with Grandpa in the future." How honest. Yoon Chang sighed secretly in her heart. She is not the widow of Wang's widow if she lives in Lao Yun's house. If you live in Lao Yun's house, you won't be implicated by the widow Wang? If you can't completely control widow Wang, that woman will sooner or later cause a big trouble. Looks like I need to add more fire. But the guest said that my mother has to wear a high hat when she doesn't go to the city. Even I have to wear a high hat, and Lao Yun's family has to be re-educated in thinking. Grandpa, why do I also wear a high hat? What is thinking? Re-education. The old couple looked at each other again, their faces as if they had knocked over the palette, white and blue, blue and black, and finally Mr. Yoon struggled to say a few words. It's all nonsense, it's a new society now, and I don't like to sit in the same way. Your mother is your mother, you are you, and the old Yoon family is the old Yoon family. How can you be unlucky with her? Before she finished speaking, Mrs. Yoon had already shouted back. You can fool people. It's not like Chang Nan is unlucky with her, there is a mother who breaks shoes and gets criticized. How will my granddaughter be a person in the future? How about her husband's family? Even the old Yoon family will have to follow her and lose her again. The old man Yoon was speechless for a while, smiled at Yoon Chang awkwardly, and asked the old lady in a low voice, "Then what do you say?" The old lady was also questioned. She couldn't let widow Wang run away, and she couldn't let widow Wang continue to steal people, so she could only get married. But widow Wang carried Kefu's reputation behind her back, and she wasn't someone who lived peacefully. There were still people in the surrounding 10 miles and 8 villages who dared to marry her. Even if someone wants to marry, it is not a good family. With the shrewdness of the widow Wang, she will naturally not be willing to marry. Who would let their own delicious food and drink go to other people's house to be a cow and a horse to starve and be poor? The old lady let out a long sigh in worry, and the old man sighed too. The two sighed louder than the other, like a game. Yoon Chang looked at the old man, then at the old lady, and finally lowered his head speechlessly and looked around at the house of the old Yoon family. At the base of the east wall is a large hard kong. The kong is covered with reed mats. There was also a kong cabinet with missing feet on it, and the door of the cabinet could not be closed. Yoon's Hang could even see the small bundles full of patches in the cabinet. The other side of the big kong is connected to the pot platform. There is no pot on it for a long time. There is a large black and bright earthenware pot hanging there. Next to it is a large box with a handle. Through the memory of the original owner, Yoon Chang knew that this big box was called a bellows, and it was used for fire. The reason why the pot platform is built with the kong is to keep warm. When cooking in winter, the heat will be transferred to the kong head through the chimney, so burning the kong at night will save a lot of firewood. Directly opposite the pot stand is a chopping board about 1 meter 5. The wall above the chopping board takes out a small square space, and the door is installed on the outside, which becomes a ready-made cupboard. Shire. There was a short-legged square table in the corner on the other side. It was clean and should be a kong table for eating. Other than that, no other furniture could be found in the room. Yoon's Hang thought that in addition to the reed mat, the big kong in widow Wang's house was covered with felt, and the two kong cabinets on the kong were painted red and painted beautiful patterns of flowers and birds. Large iron pan. When the two sides were compared, Yoon Chang suddenly felt that the old Yoon family was really poor, and even the furniture for living was less than half of that of widow Wang's family. At this moment, The old couple of the Yun family are so worried that their bowels are almost knotted. The old lady has tears in her eyes, sighs and wipes her tears. Seeing that the corners of Yun Chang's eyes twitched. It was less than an hour before she entered Lao Yun's house, and the old lady was crying for the third time. If she were a few decades younger, she would look like a little girl who was angry. Yun Chang was speechless for a while. She said so much and said so seriously. The old couple of the Yun family only knew how to sigh and sigh. There was no way to take widow Wang at all. How can such a person be honest? She is simply cowardly. Can this old Yun family really be her backer? Yun Chang was very suspicious. Wife, Erchuan and his wife are coming back soon, why don't you ask Erchuan later? I don't know how long it took, but the old man Yun finally thought of a way that was not a solution. The old lady nodded, turned around and raised the wick, and the room suddenly brightened a bit. Yun Chang was angry and funny in her heart, and she didn't expect the old couple anymore, and turned to ask the whereabouts of Yun Erchuan couple and Yun Shuilian. Grandma, my aunt, what is my second uncle doing? And brother Xuanzi, isn't he at home? The old lady was holding out a quilt from the con cabinet, laying it neatly with her hands and feet, and hugged Yun's Hang again, unbuttoning her clothes, and said. Your aunt went to play in the county town and will be back tomorrow. Your second uncle and second aunt went to Xuanzi's grandmother's house. Before the words were finished, the sound of the door being pushed open came from the courtyard, followed by the sound of footsteps coming towards the main room. Yun Chang quickly held down the old lady's hand to undress her, jumped into the quilt, and wrapped herself with the quilt. So embarrassing. She didn't wear anything under her cotton-padded clothes, so she was naked, what a shame. Also, she still has a watch in her arms. If she is found, it will not be so easy to fool her. The old lady still wanted to take Yun Chang out and continue to undress, but Yun Erchuan and his wife had already entered the main room with the bolt in their arms, and they couldn't take their breath away, so they shouted at the door. Father, mother, when Hung Mei and I came back, I saw Wang Gihua was making trouble again. Do you think she will take out the child again later? Yun Chang heard the words and hurriedly sat up from the bed, only to see Yun Erchuan as if he had seen a ghost, widened his eyes, looked at Yun Chang blankly, and swallowed the words stuck in his mouth. Second uncle, Yun Chang called out to Yun Erchuan with her eyebrows bent, and then turned back and called out to Li Hongmei. Hey, it's Chang's nun. Yun Erchuan reacted and didn't ask why Yun Chang was at Lao Yun's house, put his son on the Kong in his arms, pointed at Yun Chang and said, Xuanzi, called my sister. Xuanzi was only 2 years old and could not speak yet. Seeing Yun's Hang waving at him with a smile, he also grinned silly. What's going on over there in the middle of the night? Is it? Someone found the broken shoes? The old lady's face turned pale with fright when she thought of what Yun's Hang said about the shoes in the neighboring county. Yun Erchuan didn't think so much, took the water that Li Hongmei handed over and poured a few mouthfuls, wiped his mouth and replied. It was said that the house was burglarized, and a chicken was lost, and now the whole village can't sleep. Yun Chang stretched out her hand to tease Xuanzi. Thinking of the distressed appearance of widow Wang's jumping feet, her heart kept stealing joy. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0SE. Chapter 7. The old lady breathed a sigh of relief, and then she felt sorry for the lost old hen for widow Wang. Oh, she didn't care, why did she let people touch the house and steal the chicken? God killed thief. It was the first time that Yun Chang heard the expression thief baby, and thought it was amusing and appropriate. After enduring it, she finally couldn't help glancing her head over and snickering. Isn't she the thief that the old lady called her, the thief who stole chickens? The old man was thinking about something in his heart, he coughed, and after the old lady stopped, he told Yun Erchuan what Yun Chang said before, and at the end he was not at ease and asked. When you went back to the county, Did you hear that there was a fight in the neighboring county? Do you really want the whole family to fight together? Yun Erchuan frowned, and after a while he shook his head. Father, I don't know many people, and I haven't heard anyone talk about the neighboring county. But Chang Nan is right, if I don't make a clear distinction with Wang Gihua boundaries, we have to fight together. But our family and Wang Gihua's family have long since separated, and even the household registration has been moved out. It doesn't matter. Li Hongmei glanced at Yun's Hang several times and interjected. As soon as these words came out, the room was suddenly quiet, and Yun Chang also raised his head, looking at Li Hongmei carefully for the first time. She is not tall, with thin eyebrows and thin eyes, and her thin face makes her look a bit mean, and her appearance can only be described as decent. She was wearing a 60% new blue padded jacket with a pair of fronts, a pair of black wide-leg pants, and patches on her elbows and knees, all in line with the image of rural women in this era. Yun Chang looked back at Yun Erchuan again. He had a very tough face with Chinese characters, big eyes, thick eyebrows, a sturdy body, and a tall height. He was a standard beautiful man in the eyes of people in this era. It's no wonder that Widow Wang was making a fuss about living with Yun Erchuan. In terms of appearance, Li Hongmei really doesn't match Yun Erchuan. At least Widow Wang looks better than her. Li Hongmei lowered her eyelids. Yun Chang couldn't see what Li Hongmei was thinking, but she could also hear what she meant. The clear line between Mr. Yun and Yun Erchuan means that Yun Chang and Widow Wang have drawn a line, and Li Hongmei said that the two families have nothing to do with each other. It is to completely return Yun Chang to Widow Wang's house, so that Widow Wang and Widow Yun are counted. Everything happened, and the Lao Yun family couldn't be implicated. It is a very worry-free idea, but for the original owner, it is a little ruthless. At this moment, the old man and the old lady's faces are not good looking. Yun Erchuan also pulls his face. No one speaks in the room for a while, only Xuanzi babbles in a language that no one can understand. Old man, what do you say? The old lady suddenly turned her head to stare at the old man, with red eyes, and the old man replied that she was not satisfied, so she went up to scratch it, and then burst into tears. I don't know if I succumbed to the old lady's arrogance, or was really afraid of the old lady's tears. The old man Yun immediately raised his head and said, "What are you talking about? No matter what, Chang Nan is De Chuan's daughter, surnamed Yun." Back then, De Chuan was really rare, and she held her hand all day long. Even for the sake of De Chuan, she couldn't let Chang Nan leave. Our old Yun family. The old lady's face looked better, and she looked back at Yun Erchuan. Second brother, your elder brother treated you well back then. You. Mother, don't worry, if Sangnan can come back, she will eat what Xuanzi eats. I will definitely not be hungry for Sangnan. Yun Erchuan also quickly opened his mouth to make a promise, for fear that in a second at night, the old lady would give him another 3,000 feet of flying speed. Li Hongmei moved her mouth, but finally did not dare to speak. At that time, Widow Wang was crying and arguing that she wanted to live with Yun Erchuan, and she also threw Li Hongmei's clothes all over the yard. While she was angry, she was also very scared. She was afraid that Yun Erchuan wouldn't be able to handle Widow Wang's means, so she promised to live with her. After all, Widow Wang was better looking than her, sweeter than her, more aggressive than her, and more agile than her. If it wasn't for the poor old Yun family back then. She also has a generous dowry, and Yun Erchuan will not marry her. During the 2 years she was a concubine with Widow Wang, no one knew how aggrieved Li Hongmei felt. The more capable Widow Wang was, the more useless she became. The more Yun Dachuan felt sorry for Widow Wang, the more indifferent Yun Erchuan seemed to her. After Yun Dachuan died, if Widow Wang stayed in the Yun family peacefully, with the kindness of the old Yun family, they would naturally protect her strictly. It's a pity that Widow Wang spared no expense and tossed herself out. Since then, Li Hongmei has become more comfortable. She has no concubine, her parents-in-law are generous and kind, the man is diligent and responsible, and her son is obedient. Although she is not rich, she is happy in her heart. Seeing that the days are going to get better, Yun Chang came again, and listening to her parents-in-law, she wanted to keep Yun Chang at home. Li Hongmei was naturally unhappy. It's not that she is not kind and doesn't want to raise Yun's Hang, but when she sees Yun's Hang, she can think of Widow Wang, and she can't help it. The Widow Wang wanted to rob her man, why should she raise a daughter for the Widow Wang? Besides, no one is short of food these days. If you have more mouths, she will eat one less of the emboli. Li Hongmei thought about this, and her eyes changed when she saw Yun's Hang, but Yun's Hang was listening to Yun Erchuan and the old couple talking, and didn't notice Li Hongmei. Father, mother, why don't I go to the county tomorrow and ask someone to find a home for her out of town? If you can't find out the details, she won't be troubled if she can live on. Yun Erchuan pondered for a long time and came up with a way to let Widow Wang marry away. Yun Chang nodded secretly, thinking that Yun Erchuan's idea was quite reliable. Although the variables were a little bigger, it was better than the old couple of the Yun family who only knew how to worry. But before she can find someone else for Widow Wang, she has to find a way to keep Widow Wang's mouth shut. Also, I have to take the opportunity to follow Yun Erchuan to the county seat tomorrow. Second uncle, the county town is not far, is it bigger than the town? Yun Erchuan patted Yun Chang's head amusingly, this silly boy, of course, the county is bigger than the town. It takes several hours to walk there. You said it's not far. Yun Chang blinked, and continued with a naive face. Second uncle, take me to the county tomorrow too. Find my mother-in-law's house. I have to follow along and let someone find a good family for my mother. Yun Erchuan came to be interested, bent down and teased Yun Chang with a smile, does Chang Nan know what a good family is? Yun Chang secretly rolled her eyes, clenched her fingers, and imitated the tone of a child. To eat, to wear a new padded jacket, not to be beaten, not to close the black cabinet, and to let the people who go to the county town to play are good people. As soon as the words fell, the smile on Yun Erchuan's face disappeared, and the old lady wiped away her tears and scolded Widow Wang for her sins. Good boy, the second uncle will take you to visit the county town tomorrow, for as long as you want. Yun Erchuan made the final decision and set Yun Chang's itinerary for tomorrow. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0SE. Chapter 8. Yun Erchuan and Li Hongmei came back late, and they had to take Yun's Hang to the county town the next day. The two didn't stay too long, and soon returned to their room with Xuanzi in their arms. From the beginning to the end, no one from the Yun family proposed to tell Widow Wang that Yun Chang stayed at the old Yun family at night. Seeing this, Yun Chang didn't understand anything. The Yun family didn't mention it, indicating that they knew that Widow Wang would not care if Yun's Hang went home at night, and they knew that Widow Wang would not take the initiative to find Yun's Hang home. This also shows that the original owner suffered those sins at the hands of Widow Wang in the past. The Yun family knew that maybe they didn't love them enough, or maybe they were too cowardly. Yun Chang lay silently in the bed, not disappointed in her heart, whether she didn't care enough or cowardly, she was not the original owner, she didn't have much expectations for the old Yun family, so naturally she wouldn't care about it. And the Lao Yun family is a little weaker. When Widow Wang is dealt with, she doesn't have to worry that the people of the Lao Yun family will take advantage of her status as an elder. In the future, when you get along with the Lao Yun family, you can get close, but you can't rely on him wholeheartedly. This family will never be her unstoppable backing. After tossing for a whole day, Yun Chang could not open his eyes as soon as he lay down. After the lights were turned off in the room, he soon fell asleep. Early the next morning, Yun Chang was in a daze and was put into a big bamboo basket by the old lady with the quilt. After Yun Erchuan carried the bamboo basket on her back, The old lady carefully tucked the quilt to ensure that Yun Chang would not be caught. When the wind blew, he took a few more nests and stuffed them into Yun Erchuan's arms, and sent the two of them out the door. Yun Chang was half lying in the bamboo basket. As Yun Erchuan walked, the bamboo basket swayed slightly, as if he was sitting on a cradle, and quickly fell asleep comfortably. Widow Wang lost a chicken, and she couldn't sleep well all night. In addition, she spent most of the night in the village, so the concubine who was hiding in the house had no chance to leave. At this moment, he sent people away before dawn, and was about to go back to make up for a sleepover, but at the head of the village, he met Yun Erchuan, who was in a hurry to go to the county seat. Widow Wang's eyes lit up immediately, and she dodged, blocking Yun Erchuan's way. "Stop! Erchuan, what are you carrying on your back?" Facing Yun Erchuan, Widow Wang, as always, was shameless and had no scruples. While talking, she grabbed Yun Erchuan's shirt and threw herself on him regardless. At this time, Widow Wang's eyes were astonishingly bright, and her usual delicate face was a little distorted because of excitement. Yun Erchuan was stunned by Widow Wang's indomitable stance. While trying to avoid Widow Wang's slap, he had to observe the surroundings so as not to be seen by the villagers and gossip. "What are you doing? Talk about something, don't do anything." Realizing that Wang Gihua's hands were tucked into his cotton-padded jacket, Yun Erchuan's face instantly turned black. He threw off Widow Wang, and scolded her in his voice. "Wang Gihua, don't look for me if you want to be dragged to fight with broken shoes. Our Lao Yun family can't afford to lose that face." Because he was too nervous and angry, Yun Erchuan's voice trembled. "Push." Yun Erchuan's dry anger, but he didn't dare to resist, and the way he couldn't scold people amused Widow Wang. She stopped tearing Yun Erchuan, and instead bent down and drilled into his arms, grinning while drilling. "What are you afraid of? If people see it, say I plan to go back to Lao Yun's house to live with you, Yun Erchuan." Widow Wang spoke quickly and loudly in a series of words, and it was likely to attract all the people in the village, confirming that she and Yun Erchuan had an adulterous affair and wanted to live together. Yun Erchuan was so frightened that his feet softened, and he sat on the ground in the dodging room, and the basket behind him was tilted, and Yun's hang was thrown out just like that. Widow Wang was also startled when she saw someone get out of the basket. After seeing that it was Yun Chang, she immediately sat down on the ground. Pointing at Yun Erchuan, he howled. "Okay, you Yun Erchuan. I'm just saying, why are you hiding from me? Say it. What are you trying to do by hiding the dead girl in the basket? Your old Yun family's hearts are all blacked out. Where do you want to send the dead girl? Do you want to sell her?" Yun Chang fell a big somersault, and before she could react, a series of sharp howls from Widow Wang entered her ears. Yun Erchuan didn't care about the lawsuit with Widow Wang, and quickly picked up Yun's hang to confirm that she was not broken, and then said with a look of resentment, "You have the guts to say it? If you hadn't recruited a wild man to come to the door last night and closed the door, would she be able to run to our house? To say that this honest person also has the power of an honest person." At least Yun Erchuan's honest truth ripped apart the fig leaf that Widow Wang had been deceiving for a long time, making her embarrassed and angry hands tremble, and her face turned green and white. "I don't know how to react for a long time." At this moment, people from several households at the head of the village came out one after another, and Widow Wang came back to her senses, patted her thigh and started crying. This time I was really crying, tears streaming down one by one, and sometimes I beat my chest with my hands. Ouch! I can't live anymore. My uncle poured dirty water on me early in the morning. This is forcing me to die. Dachuan, open your eyes and see, your parents are going to force your daughter-in-law to death, your brother is going to sell your daughter, they are looking at our house. Oh, I don't live anymore. Widow Wang's black pot made Yun Erchuan stunned. Didn't he just tell the truth? Did he take his niece to the county, How did he become a bully who wanted to kill his elder sister-in-law, sell his niece, and occupy his elder brother's property? Seeing that there were villagers surrounding him, Yun Erchuan was angry and anxious, and quarreled with Widow Wang with a dark face. Shangnan didn't go home last night, why didn't you look for it? If you lose a chicken, you will make half the village sleepless. Why does no one know if Changnan is lost? Changnan is my niece, and I bring my own niece. I went to pick up her aunt in the county, why did I have to sell the dress? Widow Wang was speechless when she was asked, her eyes were dodging, she saw Yun Chang who was hiding behind Yun Erchuan, she immediately exploded, and rushed towards her, scolding her mouth uncleanly. I'll kill you white-eyed wolf who eats inside and out. The old lady dragged you up with shit and pee, you learned to send chickens to other people's homes as filial sons and worthy grandsons. With Yun Erchuan guarding her in front, Yun Chang didn't worry that Widow Wang would hit her, but after listening to Widow Wang's words, she couldn't help being irritated. Widow Wang made a fuss last night that everyone in the village couldn't sleep, because the family lost a chicken, and now the chicken has not been found, but Widow Wang said that Yun's Hang sent chickens to Lao Yun's family, and the one to Lao Yun's family, where did the chicken come from? The answer is obvious. Widow Wang couldn't explain why she didn't find her lost daughter, so she was so embarrassed that she gave Yun Chang a thief's hat. Chicken, to divert the attention of Yun Erchuan and the villagers. Widow Wang played very smoothly with this trick of hitting the West and attracting disasters. It is a pity that Yun's Hang is not the original owner, and will not let Widow Wang handle it at will. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0 SE. Chapter 9. Seeing that the villagers were all around, Yun Chang stretched out two short hands and gestured at the big head of the hen in front of her chest, complaining with a grievance. Mom, our chicken is fatter than me, and it's so big, I can't hold it. I can't even hold a chicken, how can I steal it? As soon as Yun Chang spoke, the surrounding villagers were startled. What? Isn't the girl from Widow Wang's house dumb? Can she speak? Yun Chang ignored the comments of the surrounding villagers, grabbed Yun Erchuan's shirt again, and confessed to Widow Wang in horror. Mom, I know I'm wrong, don't hit me, I didn't steal the bran you feed the chicken today. If Yun Chang's words surprised the villagers, then the information she revealed in her words subverted the villagers' cognition and set off a huge wave in the hearts of the villagers. Everyone in the village knows that Widow Wang has a bad temper and often beats and scolds her daughter. They also know that Widow Wang's daughter is often hungry and eats guanyin soil, but no one thinks that there is anything wrong with Widow Wang doing this. After all, Widow Wang is a woman living alone with her child. It is normal for her to be poor and miserable. She has nowhere to vent her depression, so she can only beat the child to vent her anger. Besides, the time is not good now, no one in the village is rich, and everyone is not hungry. A little girl is not a man, isn't it normal to starve? In the past, when the villagers saw Widow Wang's daughter eating guanyin soil, they felt that Widow Wang's life was just a glamorous life on the surface. At this time, what Yun Chang said, let the villagers know that the chickens in Widow Wang's house were fat and big, and they also knew that the chickens in her family were more delicate than people, and they were fried immediately. The rations of every household in the village are wawadu mixed with elm bark and grass root powder, but the chickens of Widow Wang's house actually eat bran. What does the Widow Wang usually eat? What's even more disgusting is that the Widow Wang was reluctant to feed the chickens with bran, but she was reluctant to give her daughter a bite of food, forcing the child to eat guanyin soil and snatch food from the chickens. Where in the world is there such a mother? Besides, Widow Wang is a woman's family, where did her rations come from? Thinking of this, the eyes of the villagers looking at Widow Wang changed, some scrutiny, some contempt, some anger, some greed, and a few gloomy eyes with malicious intentions, which made Widow Wang's heart shudder. In the crowd, the two women who lived next door to Widow Wang's house looked at each other with the look of watching a good show in their eyes at the same time. Widow Wang was still shocked that Yun Chang dared to speak in front of outsiders. After she reacted, Yun Chang had dug a hole for her and waited for her to jump in. Realizing that she had been hurt badly by Yun's hang, Widow Wang exploded on the spot like a dynamite barrel, turned over, rolled up her sleeves, and rushed towards Yun's hang. "I'll tear your mouth apart. You mortal star, little bastard. I let you talk nonsense. I let you harm people." Yun Chang got behind Yun Erchuan when Widow Wang rushed over. Yun Erchuan was forced to stand in front, afraid of hurting Yun Chang, so he didn't dare to escape, and was too embarrassed to fight back, so he raised his arms and resisted Widow Wang. Crazy tearing. Widow Wang has a fiery nature and has no fear of the people of the old Yun family. At this moment, her anger is surging, and she can't wait to tear up Yun's hang. Seeing that Yun Erchuan has been blocking the front, her inner anger is even more intense. "Go away. Your old Yun family still wants to protect this bastard? I should have drowned this scourge in the first place. Shamanman star. Bastard. Why don't you die, why don't you die?" Widow Wang was tearing and beating, cursing loudly, but unable to hit Yun Chang. She simply greeted Yun Erchuan with both hands, pinching and pulling and twisting, each time she exerted her strength, and finally she simply slammed into Yun Erchuan. In Erchuan's arms, he bit Yun Erchuan's chest hard, but he didn't let go. The onlookers burst into laughter. Yun Erchuan's body froze, his facial features distorted instantly, and even his face became blue-white. Yun Chang was stunned. She could feel the piercing pain in Yun Erchuan's sensitive area through the padded jacket. Finally, a few villagers who couldn't see it stepped forward and pulled Widow Wang away. Widow Wang sat on the ground, screaming and screaming at Yun's hang, threatening to tear Yun Chang's mouth, break Yun Chang's legs, and let her die as a starving ghost. Yun Erchuan bent down to clean up the bamboo basket with a cold face. Widow Wang grabbed the left and right sides of his face and neck, showing traces of blood, and his clothes were torn in several pieces. After Yun Erchuan tidied up the quilt in the bamboo basket, he took Yun Chang, who was suspected to be frightened, in and sat down. With the help of the villagers, he carried the bamboo basket. Then he turned to Widow Wang and said, "Shangnan is not a little bitch, her surname is Yun, and our old Yun family will support her in the future." Widow Wang seemed to have been pressed the pause button, and the cursing stopped abruptly. "Okay, give me 100 pounds of corn and 30 pounds of white flour, and when the Death Star grows up, he will come back to recruit children and establish a family for Dachuan. Give me old age, and if I die later, I have to bury her under the grave of Dachuan. If you agree, I will let your Lao Yun family support her, otherwise she will die, and she will die under the eyes of my Wang Gihua." The surrounding villagers were stunned. What was the heart of this Widow Wang? The Lao Yun family raised her daughter for her, so it was fine if she didn't pay her rations, and they even asked the Lao Yun family for rations. 100 caddies of corn, and white flour, these are all refined grains. She is her daughter is a golden lump. Even golden lumps are not worth so much food. Yun Erchuan was so angry that he couldn't speak, panting heavily, staring at Widow Wang for a long time. Without saying a word, he turned around abruptly and left. After there was no one around, Yun Chang quickly took out Yunnan Bio's medicinal powder from the space, stood up staggeringly from the bamboo basket, hugged Yun Erchuan's neck, and gave him medicine little by little. Yun Erchuan felt cold on his neck, and the wound was not as burning and stinging as before. He couldn't see his back, so he patted Yun Chang's head with his backhand and asked Yun's hang. "Shangnan, what did you put on your second uncle?" His voice was low and hoarse, with a choke sob that was forcibly suppressed by Sisi. "Second uncle, it's medicine. The medicine given by the old uncle in the village said that after the beating, it will not hurt if you wipe it off. Yun Erchuan let out an and fell silent again, but the steps under his feet were getting bigger and bigger, and he was walking faster and faster. It seemed that if he walked faster, he would be able to completely shake off the dispute with Widow Wang just now. Similar. Yun Chang knew that Yun Erchuan was uncomfortable, so she stopped talking. After carefully applying the medicine for him, she sat back in the basket, looked up at the few white clouds floating in the sky, and recalled the whole process of arguing with Widow Wang just now. From meeting the Widow Wang, to the Widow Wang pointing the gun at her, to the curse of the Widow Wang in a hurry. Yun Chang calmed down and thought about the process carefully, and soon found out what was wrong. How to Thrive in the 60s. Author, A0SE. Chapter 10. Widow Wang had been furious and mad before, and scolded everyone in the Lao Yun family, but she never scolded Yun Dachuan even from the beginning to the end. Even when she mentioned Yun Dachuan, Widow Wang's tone softened a bit. Obviously, Widow Wang had affection for the dead Yun Dachuan. Under such circumstances, even if Widow Wang felt that the original owner was Kefu's mother's life and hated her for killing Yun Dachuan, and even wished she died immediately, there was no reason to call the original owner a petty bastard. After all, the original owner was the daughter of Widow Wang and Yun Dachuan. If the original owner was a little bastard, what was she and Yun Dachuan? Besides, Widow Wang likes Yun Dachuan so much, why is she willing to insult Yun Dachuan with words like bitch? Unless there is a problem with the identity of the original owner. If the original owner was not Yun Dachuan's daughter, or the daughter of Widow Wang's, or had no blood relationship with these two people, then the old Yun family had turned a blind eye to the original owner's plight for so many years and could have explained it. There is no blood relationship, the Lao Yun family wants to support the original owner, and wants to stand for the original owner, so in front of the Widow Wang, he doesn't seem so righteous. Yun Chang turned around and looked at Yun Erchuan, who was hurrying on the road with a cold face and no hair, and felt a little touched in his heart. If the original owner is really not from the blood of Yun Dachuan, then she owes the old Yun family a lot. For her unrelated girl movie, Lao Yun's family can make up their minds to find a husband-in-law for their widowed daughter-in-law, which is no worse than a granddaughter. It was already November, and the icy cold wind was blowing like small knives, stabbing people's hands and toes. Yun's hands still felt cold while wrapped in the quilt. Yun Erchuan only wore a padded jacket, but he didn't seem to feel cold. He opened the collar of the padded jacket and walked forward with great strides against the wind, and there were even fine beads of sweat oozing from his forehead. If you just observe carefully, you can find that Yun Erchuan's face is pale. Yun Chang knew very well in his heart that the reason why Yun Erchuan was like this was not only because he was in a hurry, but also because he had nowhere to vent the anguish in his heart and was too aggrieved. Afraid that Yun Erchuan would be out of breath, Yun Chang did not dare to test the identity of the original owner at this time. Second uncle, where did my aunt go to play in the county seat? Do you want to find my aunt first when I go to the county seat later? Your auntie got married and went to a wedding party. Let's find her when we come back next afternoon. Oh, second uncle, which county are we from? We are from Qinghe County. Yun Erchuan said a few words, his mood eased a lot, and his footsteps began to slow down. Shangnan, if your mother hits you in the future, you should run hard, don't stand in place and be beaten, understand? Yun Chang's heart froze for a while, hearing what Yun Erchuan meant. Did she plan to let her go back to Lao Yun's house? Shangnan, don't blame the second uncle can't do anything. Your mother wants 100 caddies of corn and 30 caddies of white flour, but the second uncle can't get it. Yun Erchuan's tone was heavy as if a stone had fallen, and his whole body was fine. The anger is down, Shangnan, you can bear it. I will ask someone to find someone for your mother today, and when she gets married, the second uncle will take you home, okay? Yun Chang silently patted his forehead. Why is he so honest? It seemed that widow Wang's arrogant and domineering temper was something the old Yun family was used to. Seeing that Yun Erchuan was so ashamed that he couldn't raise his head, Yun Chang couldn't bear to embarrass him, and said, "Okay, I'll listen to the second uncle." Shangnan is really obedient. The more sensible Yun Chang was, the more uneasy Yun Erchuan felt in his heart. Thinking that Yun Chang hadn't eaten a single bite in the morning, he quickly took out a wow head from his arms and handed it to Yun Chang with his backhand. "Shangnan, eat first. Put your head on your stomach, and wait until the second uncle in the county buys you meat buns to eat." Yun's Hang took the wowadu. "According to the experience of eating vegetable dumplings last night, I took a small bite, and the result was that my teeth hurt, and only a white mark was left on the head of the wow." Looking at this wowadu, who was thrown out and used as a shot put, Yun's Hang was so sad that he almost cried. "This thing is too hard as a molar stick, how can you eat it?" At this time, Yun Erchuan also took out a wowadu and began to nibble. Yun Chang hurriedly put the wowadu in his arms and continued to ask Yun Erchuan what he said. "Second uncle, the guest who came to the house last night said that he has been to the provincial capital. The provincial capital is not far from our village." "Is the provincial capital called the provincial capital?" Yun Erchuan was amused by Yun Chang's words, holding the wow head and laughing for a long time before answering. "The provincial capital is far away. From the county, it takes a day's train ride to reach the provincial capital. The provincial capital is not called the provincial capital, it is called Lianyang City. We are from Lingxi province." Yun Chang was immediately stunned. Where is Lianyang? Where is Lingxi province? Why hasn't she heard of one? Is this a parallel world? Yun Erchuan waited for a long time and couldn't wait for his niece to continue to ask questions. After thinking about it, he asked Yun's Hang. "Shangnan, do you know the name of the guest who came to your house last night?" Yun Chang came back to his senses, blinked his eyes, and answered crisply and loudly, "I know, call a dead ghost." Cough, cough, cough. The wowadu in Yun Erchuan's mouth choked directly out, and his face didn't know whether he was choked or embarrassed, and it went red from his neck to the base of his ears. "You kid, don't talk nonsense, how can anyone call this name?" "But my mother called the guest a ghost," and the guest laughed happily. Yun Erchuan didn't ask any more, buried his head, his feet seemed to be stepping on the hot wheel, and quickly walked towards the county town. Just when Yun's Hang was worried about whether Yun Erchuan's legs would break, the uncle and nephew finally stepped into the county. Yun Chang stood in the basket, holding the edge of the basket with a pair of small hands, turning her little head around, constantly looking at the county seat full of slogans. Different from the dilapidated and bleak houses on the Huangni Road imagined by Yun's Hang, several main roads in Qinghe County are paved with heavy bluestone slabs, and on both sides of the cross street in the middle are neat two-story buildings, supply and marketing cooperatives, post offices, department stores. State-run hotels and other units occupy the most prosperous part of the county. People come and go on the street. Although most of them are thin, they are full of energy, their eyes are bright and spirited, and they carry the enthusiasm and passion unique to this era. It was not yet 10 o'clock in the morning. Yun Erchuan did what he said, first went to the state-run restaurant to buy 4 meat buns, put one in Yun Chang's hand, and carefully received the other 3 in the basket, ready to bring going back to try it for the family. Yun Chang took a bite of the meat bun, which tasted very good. Looking at his short figure again, he was very sensible and did not ask for a walk alone. While nibbling on the meat buns, his eyes kept looking around. "Shangnan, there are many people here, the second uncle will carry you away." Seeing that Yun Chang was walking really hard with her short legs, Yun Erchuan bent down and hugged Yun Chang, went straight down the cross street, and turned into a narrow alley.